please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if I could have a motion to approve the agenda for the business meeting of September 16th, 2024.
Angela and Kelly.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Dave, was that an aye? Oh, good. So now we have an accolade for newly tenured faculty and new hires, and I'm going to turn it over to Mike.
Yes, first of all, I would just like to thank everyone for coming to this today. It is truly a special time, beginning of the school year. We got a lot going on. We had a capital project to it. But it's a great time to welcome our new folks into the district. They may not be necessarily new to the district, but new to their roles. And it's really, you're the reason why we're here, because you help us do a wonderful job in connecting with our kids and supporting our faculty and staff and our students. So we wanted to be able to do this just to kind of say thank you for and welcome for coming to Greenville Central School District. We're truly honored. I know there's a huge list here of folks, but I know that coming to a board meeting on a beautiful night in September is maybe not always the number one thing. That's why we have food. It usually draws people in. So just a couple of folks that I want to introduce to us, to the board and to the rest of the community that's here, who are here tonight. Nicole Bowden, stand out. We've got Jen Howard over there in the back corner. Thank you, Jen. She may be a familiar face to some folks. Kristen Parrish. There's Kristen. Welcome. Thank you so much. And Ellen Twiss. Thank you very much. Again, we want to thank you for coming out and being a part of this. But I also want to make sure that I recognize a couple of folks who were in your shoes not too long ago, but now are at that point where the district has thought highly of the work that they do to grant the tenure. So Christy Gorgon, our high school principal, back there. And Joanna. Well, thank you very much. Doing all the work you do is a strong program, so we appreciate that. But again, just thank you everyone for being out tonight and just being a part of our family. We appreciate you guys. Thank you.
And as Mike said, thank you. Alrighty, so open forum. The Greenville Central School District wishes to facilitate public access to meetings of the Board of Education and to provide an opportunity for public comment at these meetings. Accordingly, the open forum provides an opportunity for members of the public to share thoughts about topics on the agenda. An individual's comment shall be limited to 5 minutes. Additionally, comments may be emailed to the district clerk, Daphne Pearson, using the email pearsond@greenvillecsd.org. In order for an email to be read during the meeting, it must be received by 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting and state that the email is to be read out loud. Emails shall be limited to 600 words. Please note that this is not the time to register complaints that need to be addressed confidentially through the proper channels. Remarks that might be considered defamatory, obscene, profane, stigmatizing, or otherwise impermissible in public forums are prohibited and will be declared out of order. Board members actively listen during the open forum, but may not immediately respond to comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Do we have any emails?
No emails.
Okay. Then I'm going to move us on to the presentations, and the administrators are going to give us an update as far as the opening of school 2024. So come on down.
I will say at this time, as our administrators are coming up, if folks who are here for the recognition would like to leave, now's not a bad time. I don't want to make sure everybody, we don't want to hold you hostage through the course of the entire meeting. This is a polite way to say, if you want to go.
You
Yeah,
may-
please take desserts.
We don't
with
take
you.
it personally.
Do not.
And thank you again.
No graceful way to do that. So, yeah, so we're going to ask our folks to talk a little bit about the opening of school. You know, some highs, some lows, some challenges. So I'm not sure who would like to, if they did rock, paper, scissors to figure out who's going first.
Brian said that I can go first. We're going to go backwards. He said
Okay.
the new guy can go last. Those were his words.
All right.
All right, so we have 341 students enrolled at the high school at the present time. We have 9 new students to the district this year, as well as 1 foreign exchange student from Japan, so we're very excited to have her as well. We've had a great start to the school year. I visited all English classrooms over last week, and I finished my last class today. I push into the English classrooms and I go over I call it student expectations. I kind of just review like welcome back, remind everybody why we're here. I go over parts of the code of conduct, and I always end with the safety slide, just some reminders about safety, and then I give the students any like updates that we did over the summer, just to keep them in the loop. Some positives, I feel like our students are genuinely happy to be back, and it's so nice to have them back in the building. We had a good problem last year with breakfast that we've kind of rectified. So our breakfast lines got very long last year once we opened up free food for free lunch and breakfast for everybody. So that's a good problem to have, right? But it was also impacting our academic classes first period last year. So we've had a really great start to the school year. I've got 2 adults that stand in the back hallway and kind of just push students through. So our lines are moving a lot quicker. And so our first period teachers are happier as well too, knowing that. We've had a couple evacuation drills, and I feel like they've run really smoothly, so that's nice. And just as a little promote for next week, we have college visits for seniors that are starting. Some of the challenges that we faced already, we're still down an aide at the high school, but we are making progress, and we have a really great sub in place. I think this is not a shock to anyone. We're struggling with, a couple of our bus runs, but Mary's doing a fantastic job, and the communication with transportation is really been keeping us in loop. That's great. And then obviously, I'm not gonna, beat this one with a dead horse, but vaping is still occurring in our bathrooms, and vaping is gonna continue to be a problem in schools, or a concern in schools, until those that are making vaping products stop targeting students. So that's kind of the rundown at the high school.
Thank you, Ms. Corrigan. In the middle school, we are at 239 to start the year out, a little bit down from last year. We were at like 249 to end the year. Definitely, we've had some new students move in, some great new students move in. We've had some students who have left too, and then our grade 6 cohort's a little bit smaller than the 6th grade cohort we had last year. New faculty, you met a couple members tonight, have, I feel, transitioned well to the Greenville Middle School family. We're excited to have them on staff. I think as we've done a great job in our hiring process, so just excited for the people in the building here. Our new teacher orientation in August always is a very thorough 3 days that I think really helps ease our faculty members, and that's K-12, into the new year, feeling good about it and actually getting to meet their mentors for the year and work with them some also. Some activities, we did the transition of students back into the building, of course our locker day, and we give opportunities to our 7th and 8th graders to come in on a day right before school also, to work on those locker combinations, to relieve that anxiety, organize the locker, practice their schedules. We had a lot of good attendance that day with 6th grade students here. We had a lot of our 6th grade faculty team was here to support the students, and it was just good to see the students in the building. I got to tell you, it really made me be like, yep, this is my why, as the students were back in the building and just as excited to see them. They were happy to be here. One of the things that I noticed a lot this year that I thought was awesome was just the amount of siblings that came in to help support their 6th grade siblings and get them set up, and just almost how they felt proud doing it almost. It was just neat to see them back in the hallways too, so that was a neat thing. The students seem very great to be back here. They're happy. They seem consistent routines have been where we've been pretty established already, even with some construction out here with recess and stuff. Kids, they adapt well. So we're in a good spot with that. And as we say each day, and I started this out with, I visited all the PE classes last week to talk about our code of conduct. We say, if you can follow our be kind, be responsible, be the best you can be, everyone's gonna have a great day, right? In terms of wherever you are, if you follow those 3 things. And we related that to the code of conduct. We had about student responsibility, student rights, and expectations to them here. And I thought we had some really healthy conversations around cell phone usage with students. It was a thing that I really talked about quite a bit, and a lot of them had seen things on the news this summer, and we talked and agreed about that. We would like to do a better job of that and learn the life skill of what is appropriate etiquette with our phones. So that's something that we're focusing on. I know a lot of our teams are too, with our students, and just in terms of behavioral expectations in the classrooms. Open house is this week for the middle school and high school on the 19th here, so that's always a nice night. Get the family and community members into the building to meet some of our staff. Our BLT is often rolling, or as a building we are with our goals for the year. We've the past 2 faculty meetings have had spent a lot of time getting our goals started for the year. And we're going to be talking to you about that more in November. We'll give you a little update where we are with some things. Our big key things are focusing on studying organizational skills to kick the year off. So that's where we're at with that at this point. And just one last thing, every year it's great for our students to come back to a sparkling building. So just another shout out to our buildings and grounds from this past summer and their hard work.
Speaking of buildings and grounds, did you know today's Rich's birthday?
Happy birthday.
Nice transition, Chris.
Happy birthday, Rich.
I did have one just quick question. Because of the construction, the art rooms had to be moved. Could you talk a little bit about that, how that's been going and so forth?
Yeah, so all of our high school art classes are in one room. The math teacher that's typically in there is spread out among the 3 or 4 math teachers up in that area, and then middle school art is in 3 different classrooms. So but they're classrooms that have sinks. Our teachers are great, accommodating each other. It seems to be working well at this point. So, we don't really have a room that's free any period during the day, but we're making it work. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I am relieved and proud to say that we had a great first week at Ellis Elementary. Current enrollment at Ellis stands at 480 students. The feedback that we've received from teachers and staff on the new classroom spaces, including our motor lab, has been overwhelmingly positive. I think there was a great deal of gratitude from our teachers, even though it was a small window that they had to be able to get in and get their classroom set up, that each and every one of them were in their own classrooms to start the year. So again, that's due in large part to the hard work of our building and grounds crew, so thank you to them. We have had a few minor distractions with the construction, nothing major, mostly noise related. And we met, as a faculty at our faculty meeting, and I had to remind them that it is a construction zone adjacent to a school, so there are going to be those challenges realistically. They are almost done with the foundation, pouring the foundation. Today there was a very large truck there pouring concrete, and yet we did business as usual. And so in some ways I think the kids and the teachers have kind of settled into the routine of this is just something that's going to be happening, and will be continuing throughout the year. So I give our teachers a lot of credit in terms of their flexibility and their ability to redirect our kids and keep them focused on their learning opportunities. I would like to say that the construction crew has been incredibly responsive to our needs. We've had a couple of evacuation drills at this point, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't concerned prior to that, knowing that we had trucks coming in and out and workers coming in and out, and the managers and their crew have been more than accommodating in terms of helping us out with those situations, so that's very reassuring to know. We typically will chat after each drill and just talk about anything that came up, prepare for the next one, so that's good to note. We have 3 new staff members as well. Nicole was here this evening. We also have a new special ed teacher, Skylar Bryan. She's working in one of our self-contained classrooms. And we have an extended term music teacher, Dan White, who's going back and forth between the elementary school and the middle school. All seem to be off to a great start. I would like to take a minute to acknowledge our PE coaches. They have no gym this year to teach PE, so thank goodness for the nice weather to start the year. They've been outside, but they have been outside all day, every day since the start of the school year. And so they've been incredibly accommodating for our students, and I would just like to give them a shout out. We do have a couple of special activities that either have just passed us by or are coming up that I'd like to point out. We've done one round of character ed assemblies at Ellis. The focus was safety and code of conduct. We had our communications specialist, Sierra Pizzola, and our school resource officer, Dustin Rogers, present to the kids K through 5. That was very exciting for the kids. We have open house as well Wednesday night for grades 3, 4, and 5. We'll have K1-2 next Thursday evening. I am happy to share that we have a former teacher, Bill Kiefer, coming back next Monday to do some trainings with our staff about responsive classroom, and the staff is very excited about that. And then the last thing I'd just like to point out, next week will be School Spirit Week at Ellis, culminating with our field day, our fall field day on Friday for the students, a bike safety assembly, and then Greenville Day. So a lot going on at Ellis. Really, really happy and proud to be there. Thank you.
Thank you, folks. I would also ask Todd to comment a little bit on some of the other departments, and kind of talk about their start to the year.
Absolutely. So just adding some context from the non-instructional side of things. So it's nice to hear shout outs for the different departments as the 3 principals were talking. We have a great advantage of having 3 incredible supervisors. One, I was going to say it's his birthday, but Christy stole that thunder. So Rich is here, building the grounds. Mary Judicus is transportation, and then Tracy Churchill, who also prepared the snacks for tonight, for food service. So just some quick information in each of those departments. So I'll start with food service. As Christy mentioned, definitely more kids are getting meals at school, breakfast and lunch. So as of end of day today, Tracy and her team has served over 7,200 meals. That's breakfast and lunch from the start of school until the end of day today. And just in comparison, that's actually up by 2,700 meals from last year at the same time. So significant number increase in the amount of meals that we're serving every day. One additional point to that, at the end of last year, after having the majority of last year part of CEP, which is the program that allows us to provide the free meals for breakfast and lunch, and the reimbursement rate that comes with that, we were able to add an additional position in food service. So while they're producing that many more meals, important for her to also have a full staff to support the work that's needed. So that's a quick update for food service. Transportation side, as Christy also mentioned here, definitely some challenges with filling our routes every day. So we have 20 regular routes that go out every day. That's in addition to some of the other special routes that happen as well. For today, as one example, we were short 7 drivers for different reasons, some being out sick, some other things going on, but 7 drivers short. So that is certainly a challenge for Mary and her team. As of the end of day on Friday, they had already traveled over 7,000 miles, so just over 1,000 miles per school day on our buses that the drivers are doing. So continuing to work on trying to be creative and figure out different ways to man or woman all our buses, but certainly a challenge to start the year, but Mary and her team are doing a great job. And last but not least, our birthday boy, buildings and grounds. Last week was a lot of tour facilities, so the board got to see firsthand the great work that Buildings and Grounds has done. Because I like numbers, I thought I'd pull some numbers. So roughly the square footage of our campus, if you take all of our buildings and put together, it's over 230,000 square feet. So connect that to if you have about a 2,000 square foot home, what Rich and his crew do over the summer are clean, prepare, make alterations where needed to over 117 2,000 square foot homes. So that's a lot of work, right? And it looks absolutely incredible across our campus. And add to that, there are just over 80 acres that he and his team also prepare and take care of for athletics and all the things that happen outside. So just wanted to kind of add the context of what's happening in those 3 departments and the great work that's happened over the summer and the start of the school year.
you very much. I like those numbers. Those were kind of fun facts. Thank you.
The board, the student rep to the Board of Education. So that went out on Friday, the applications for that. There were a couple that were interested after everything closed, like right in the end of June. Those students were notified. I should have got the timeline in front of me, but I believe it's open for 2 weeks, and then we'll meet as a committee and we'll do some voting, and hopefully by the next meeting, or the October meeting, we'll have a student sitting here with us.
Voting will take place between October 2nd and 4th.
You're good with the timeline.
Well, it was part of my update, so I'm gonna just get it in now.
Thunder, Todd,
So yes, so the 2-week window, we'll get those applications in and get ready for the student vote on October 2nd through the 4th, and we'll have that ready for the October board meeting. Thank you. Thanks, folks.
Alrighty, so now I'm going to move us on to discussion, and the first discussion point that we have is an update on the capital project, and Mike, take it away.
Yeah, I want to thank the administrators because they pretty much did a lot of the update now that we're back in session. It's going to slow down a little bit in regards to the content in the update. But as you can see here, just looking out this window, there are works still going on at the library or the art rooms here, and as well as down at the Ellis Elementary. Work continues to go on as planned. I do want to give a shout out, since we were given shout outs. Schoolhouse Construction Management has been an amazing hire for us. They have really done an amazing job of staying on top of our primes and our folks doing the work, and really Luke and some of the other folks have just been amazing, and as Matt said, very attentive to what our needs are. So I do want to thank them for that. Moving forward, as we're closing out the first phase of this project, we will be having a meeting, I believe, this upcoming Wednesday to start to talk about work that we'll look to have done over breaks, December, February, April, and really start to get into what the work is going to look like for next summer. We did 7 or 8 classrooms, I believe, this summer, and we're going to 10. We're going to be up over 20 in the next summer with classrooms that are going to be touched. So we hit a few hiccups, a few speed bumps to start the capital project. So we want to make sure that we sit down with everybody and go through the drawings, the expectations, and we can eliminate a lot of that stuff. So we do have a meeting coming up, I believe, on Wednesday to begin that process, to look towards the next phase of the capital project. But all in all, the work that they're doing has been really very good. Some punch list items, but the work that they've done in conjunction with Rich and his crew has been really, it's been great work, and so moving along nicely.
I have a question. So at this point, they're still working all day, every day, while classes are going on. Is that going to continue the entire school year like that, or will things slow down with the winter?
Depends on where they're at. I would anticipate, and I think they would like to anticipate, working as much as they can. The last couple of winters have been pretty good for construction to work. It hasn't been, we haven't been getting the weather, so as much as they can get done will certainly be helpful.
Does that, is that kind of planned for in the timeline, or does that bring us ahead of schedule?
That would catch us up and probably bring us ahead of schedule a little bit. But again, it's like anything. We may be able to pull ahead of schedule in certain areas, but there's still classroom stuff that we can't get into once we, until the kids are out. So, good questions.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mike. I think that with any multi-year construction project, and it's balancing the needs of everyone, especially as the school is back in session, ensuring that we can continue to follow the timelines, but that the construction also doesn't negatively impact the students and so forth. So really, we appreciate everyone kind of being a little patient and so forth, with that. So thank you. Now I'm going to turn it over to Todd Hilgendorf, and who can provide us with an I-class update. We did see some nice positive numbers from interest, so take it away.
Yes, we did. So back in August, the board approved us to be able to use NICLAS. So just a reminder, that stands for New York Cooperative Liquid Asset Security System. This provides us the opportunity to have funds that the district has on hand, put it into an account, and earn as much interest as possible while we have those funds. So the board resolution that was passed in August allowed myself and Melanie Flasher, our treasurer, to set up the accounts with NICLAS. To start out, we put 3 different accounts under NICLAS. One is the savings account that the cafeteria fund has. One is the account that has all the student activities funds. And then the third is the debt service fund. So those 3 are the 3 that we transferred to NICLAS. Just as point of reference for the board, there is a new monthly report in the monthly reports that come to the board. It's called the interest report. And what that shows, and anybody can find this online on board docs, what that shows, the one that's on there for this month, it's the month of August. It shows the place that we have different accounts. So we have accounts at the Bank of Greene County, the National Bank of Coxsackie, and now NICLAS is our 3rd account holder. So it shows the amount that is in each of those accounts, the current interest rate for that account, or the amount of interest earned on that account for the month. So for the 1 week, so by the time we got this all set up, we moved money on August 23rd. From August 23rd to August 31st, so just over a week, those 3 accounts earned over $700 in interest. So, and that was all at a 5.16% interest rate. So that's just a little snapshot of the interest that we're able to earn. As an additional point of reference, what the cafeteria savings account earned in that 1 week was more than what it earned the entire previous year. So part of the advantage of NICLAS are some of these smaller amounts. So for example, the cafeteria account only has that's a good amount of money, but $219,000 in that account. Other banks wouldn't give us a high interest rate on such a small amount by their standards. NICLAS, we could have $2, $200,000, $2 million. They're going to give us that same rate regardless. So that's just a little update. If there's any questions, I can certainly answer them, but the board can look for that additional report in the monthly updates.
Todd, I have a question.
Yeah.
So we're earning all this interest. Where will that money go?
Yep, so it stays with each of the accounts. So the 3 that we put in there, the cafeteria savings account, it stays in cafeteria account. So that will provide us the opportunity when we have to purchase a new oven or we're purchasing equipment for the cafeteria, that can come out of there. Student activities, all of those accounts are for the different student clubs. The practice has been that any interest earned on any of those goes to student government. And then debt service, it just stays with debt service and will provide us an opportunity to pay down future debt or reduce future debt by using that money instead.
Great, thank you, Todd. I did notice that the interest report, and I definitely clicked on it, and I was like, ooh, fun information.
And if there's anything that doesn't make sense on there, Melanie and I created this as just a starting place. If there's something people want to see different or additional information, just let us know and we can tweak it. This was our first run at putting one together.
Not to be a downer, but they are saying that interest rates will come down, which is a good thing, but not necessarily for this.
Right. So we can maximize it while we can at the interest rates that they're currently there.
Exactly. So, but thank you for providing the update. All right, now I'm going to turn it over to both Mike Bennett as well as Kelly Hubicki, who's going to talk about committee structure. So who wants to start? I can give a little bit of a background.
Yeah, I think, Kelly, this has been kind of your project here for a year and a half now. So if you want to talk a little bit about what got us here and...
All right. So last year, when we set our board goals, we wanted to re-examine the committees, have the board look at what we were doing in the district, whether we were utilizing things to the best that we could. And so Jim and I actually kind of started on it. We started with examining what the state says we have to have, examining the makeup of all the current committees we have. I met with everyone. Jim met with some of them as well, the heads of each of the committees, the chair people, so that we could kind of make sure that they were happy with the makeup. Were they missing anything? The charges made sense, all that stuff. So at this point, what's coming back tonight is kind of the final, I've met with Mike several times as well, as has Jim, the final kind of presentation of the committees of the district that the board is putting out for the district to have. Pretty much anything on there is either required by law, required by contract, and so on. We've made a couple of changes. On the Health and Wellness Committee, we've added Tracy Churchill from Food Services because there are some things where there needs to be a little bit of oversight and connection with nutrition and the food service department. And so Erin was gracious and understood and actually thought it was a good idea to kind of bring her into the fold on that committee. For the Code of Conduct Committee, it's not required by the state. It's required contractually within the district that we review the Code of Conduct every year, I believe is how we figured out the wording in the end. But everyone on the Code of Conduct Committee is sitting on the DLT, the district level team, which is required by the state. And so it kind of makes sense, since the DLT is meeting every quarter, for them to take on that review and updating of the Code of Conduct Committee. It makes it a little bit more streamlined, not as many meetings for the same people over and over again. It also gives some accountability to making sure that that's met every year with no problem. The Gifted and Talented Committee, at this point, we had no one on it except Jim. So we've decided in all of our conversations that perhaps we need something a little more, would you say, ambitious or targeted right now, to kind of examine what the district offers for enrichment opportunities and things like that. So the recommendation is that we remove that committee for now and start a task force, something that brings several different shareholders to the table to examine what we offer and what we need to do differently, better, how to get the word out, and so on. And I guess pass that off to Mike from there. And yeah.
Yeah, so the idea is, Jim and Kelly were going through the committees and finding out more about different things. I think what they realize is there's a lot of stuff that's going on in regards to enrichment outside of the gifted and talented group. So it's a matter of, let's gather folks who are in each of those three buildings to talk about and to organize what's going on and what the options are, and then to be able to formally kind of put a document out to let folks know what we're doing. And if we see some deficiencies in certain areas, we can come up with some ideas about trying to grow those areas. And we thought it best to be done by a collection of, as Kelly said, stakeholders in each of those three buildings. So that's where we'll go with the task force.
I don't remember, was there anything else? It just drew a blank. Is that it?
Just those three.
Yeah. Okay.
Kelly, are you making recommendations for action by the board? I believe, Daphne, you can check me. If a committee is created by an action by a board, for example, the Code of Conduct Committee, does it need action by board to be dissolved, if that's what your recommendation is?
I believe that in the action items tonight, the committee list does indicate that the Code of Conduct Committee is being dissolved and absorbed by the DLT.
It would have been better if I paid attention.
No, I don't know if that's considered enough of an action item.
For the gifted and talented, are you seeing that more as like getting away from the gifted and talented name and going into more of an enrichment idea? What are you thinking?
I think that when the committee was more full, and it was several years ago, and we've lost pretty much everyone that was on it at the time, and there just seems to be a lot of confusion and a lot of gaps. So I think it's more, I don't know what the new name would be. I don't know what term we'd all like to use, but I think that we kind of agreed that we needed to examine what the district does, not only above and beyond the regular classes, but also within those classes, what are we doing that's offering opportunity that may be considered outside the norm, if that helps at all.
So then, for the task force, then, Mike, what do you see as the timing on that, on the TBD task force that was G&T?
Yeah, I would like to see us get up and running, get a stakeholder group ready by November, and then start to gathering information in regards to what our goals are of that group, and then to be, by the end of the school year, have some idea of next steps.
So would you feel comfortable by January then providing the board with an update?
Sure.
Okay. Does that timing, Kelly, work?
I hand the task force off to Mike. I was just doing work on committees.
All right, January it is. Thanks, Mike. Let's see. We also wanted to just update or talk about the new developments on the swim merger. And there we approved at the last meeting then for varsity. Kind of it was an opportunity that was not going to cost anything. So.
I do not have any updates at this point in regards to if it's grown or anything at that point. I know that paperwork has been filed and moving in that direction.
Denise might be able to pop into the meeting. She's out at several different athletic events, so we might be able to circle back to this if she attends the meeting a little bit.
Perfect, that would make sense. All right, the cell phone in classrooms across New York State. Mike, from the last meeting, I was the one who had asked for this because there's been a lot of discussion, a lot of information in the news, and I just thought it might be of interest for everyone to kind of be aware of what is happening in New York State as it pertains to cell phone use in the classroom.
Yeah, so as you may or may not know, Governor Hochul has put this on the forefront of her agenda in regards to taking a look at cell phones. She's wrapped it around mental health and kids' well-being in and around that. We've seen many local school districts who have jumped on board and have started to ban cell phone usage to varying degrees within their schools. One of the things that we are really exploring, and as Brian mentioned, at the middle school and high school level, is trying to teach responsibility with some of this. The governor has not come out with a date right now as far as mandating this, but she has hinted towards that, and she's kind of want to see what school districts do across the state in regards to their policies in and around cell phone usage. So we'll continue to monitor that, but at the very least, what we want to make sure we're doing is making sure students understand that the use of a cell phone is not a guarantee here in Greenville. But we also do read the headlines, and we're paying attention to some of the other communities around us that are dealing with some different issues in and around that cell phone policies. There's some communities are pushing back a little bit on it right now, and so we're kind of weighing things out to see how we're going. And again, I'm a proponent of teaching kids how to use technology and using it responsibly, and getting teachers on board and what the norms are going to be in the area of using cell phones.
And I think that a lot of it stems from, there was a book that was published recently called The Anxious Generation, and I would encourage all board members to either read it or at least listen to it, because they do take a look at the cell phones, the emotional impact, the impact on learning and so forth. And in looking at it in crunching numbers, and it's kind of eye-opening. I think that for many years, people have felt that, well, this is just a new technology, and just how maybe our great-grandparents didn't like rock and roll in the 1950s, so too does it fall under that kind of umbrella. But I think the difference, and this is one of the things that's pointed out, is imagine if someone took the television set and plunked it on the desk of a classroom. And that's what teachers in some instances are dealing with. So it's not quite the same analogy. So, but it's an interesting read, and I encourage everyone to read it, because it looks at nationally, it actually looks at internationally and some trends that are being seen, and showing some statistics and so forth, and unintended consequences that was never even dreamed of with the technology. So I guess stay tuned, everyone, and let's see what the governor has to say. All right.
Tracy, I have a comment on that. I'm wondering why neighboring schools and schools throughout the state and schools throughout the country have identified a problem in their population with these devices. It's not the cell phone itself, it's the software that the kids are using, or quite frankly, adults too. And it's not the same as a television, because I don't think I was ever addicted to I Love Lucy. But the algorithms and the software that they're using, it's definitely addicting. And I took a crash course in this probably in, I think it was in the middle of June, with some counselors and some students and some parents. And some of these apps and pieces of software and the premium features that they have, if I still had a 9 or 10 or 11 or 12-year-old kid, I wouldn't let him near this device, because I find it almost destroying their soul, or definitely changing their personality. And then I read that some schools are actually looking at, they're afraid of removing cell phones because that'll be a negative impact, because the kids are so addicted to them. But they're actually thinking about offering counseling to students on how to go about withdrawing yourself from these devices. So I'm wondering why, instead of being reactionary, our school decided that we're just going to have to take a wait and see attitude. Do we not have an identified problem that the governor says that 74% of the teachers in the state do find it to be a distracting entity in their classroom?
All right, who wants to take that one? It's kind of a loaded question on how do board members feel about being a little more proactive? Or, as Dave said, yeah. Am I putting words in your mouth?
No, I'm not. I'm fine with, I wish we were more forward about it. I actually hope the governor comes out with a strong advisory position on it. And it's a wonderful device, and I find it very, very odd that I spent years of my career teaching about technology, and now we actually get to walk around with a, basically a Dick Tracy device or a Star Wars communicator. But it's not the device, it's the software, and they are creating these things to be addictive to kids. There's no doubt about it. I find myself, I go on the cell phone to look for the weather, and I'm looking at something else. What is wrong with me? And it's the software, it's the app. So I'm fine with, we'll just wait and see what happens. But I don't think we can even state that we don't have a problem here, because that would be odd.
Right, and I think that's fair, and I'll come out and publicly state my opinion. I think we should not have cell phones in the classroom. And to your point, the Social Dilemma talks the CEOs of multiple companies based in California talk about what was done to manipulate the algorithm so that it releases more dopamine. It's an issue. But I also understand that not everyone feels the same way I do. So I think that maybe it would be in our interest to have a workshop around this topic and see, because there are definitely parents and members of the community that feel strongly that they want their children to have cell phones. and for various reasons. So I would recommend that we do a workshop on this topic, because I think that people are very passionate on both sides.
I love that idea. I think there are very strong opinions both ways, and for myself, I'm mixed on it. I can see why I would love to have the phones out of the school, but also most parents are probably like me. Like, I can look on Life 360 and see where my kid is and know what's going on, or if something goes wrong, they can contact me. If they don't feel good or they're hiding in the bathroom because they're having an anxiety attack, I can call the school and come get them. So those kind of things are real, but also, no, I don't think they belong in the classroom. So, I mean, I'd love to hear how other people feel.
Well, if everybody's jumping in, I'm one of the older generation, and I think the first phone I ever had was attached to the wall in the kitchen. So, I mean, I'm of that generation. So the idea of cell phones and so forth, in my family, when we were being introduced to cell phones for the children, we said you don't get it until high school. And we taught my children, you put it down when we're eating dinner and you don't pick it up until you're done. So they have to learn to manage it in life. I don't think that they were taking it out in school and scrolling through applications, but I wasn't here, so if any teacher wants to rat them out, you're welcome to. But I think we need a workshop to figure out where this is going. We're not going to change it right now, but I think we need to know where we're going to change it, because the data says the kids are getting hurt by this.
I guess I agree with the workshop. I think it's good, and I think a lot of parents and people view a cell phone for connectivity. It's great to have the option for connectivity so you can communicate or send a message so your child or you can reach out when be. It's not an issue. We don't use our cell phones for instruction in the classroom, so it's not a device that's being utilized. So if it becomes a distraction for something else, I think a minimum at first, I think we need to have a policy in place to where, I'm not saying if it's a three-strike rule or it's a privilege to have the phone for connectivity. Or if you're abusing it for other reasons and it becomes a distraction, I think we can put in place a protocol to where, say 3 strikes, you've been told, it's been marked, your privilege is taken away. I know some other schools are doing it with pouches and different things. I'm not saying we have to go there immediately, but it concerns me when Dave says 74%. It's an issue. Obviously I probably need to also understand what the impact is, but I think at minimum the connectivity is nice, but the distraction, if it's not being disciplined in a way, you can't just say, please put that away. It has to be a policy in place to where, and I think we can do that. If people are abusing it continually, then that privilege gets taken away for wherever decision is. I think that's the initial start, to at least have some type of policy.
I also wanted to say, I'm sorry, just really quickly, phones are, what, $1,000? So you can't really take somebody's $1,000 item away. You'll get in big trouble with their parents or the kid. You can't force them to put it away. So that's why I think waiting on some kind of guidance, and it's just across the board, the same for everyone, would be helpful.
I personally, and I'm with you on this, I mean, it's an issue. I have kids that just came out of the school. I have a little one who's already asking me, which terrifies me, and he's not getting it, just so you know. But I've had a lot of conversations with leadership and also with teachers and stuff in the district, and before the board acts in any way, if we're going to have a workshop, I'd really like to hear some of the thoughts and opinions from the people who are dealing with this day in and day out in the schools here. Not Albany, not Bethlehem, whatever's working somewhere else may or may not work for us. But I think we need to be educated by the people who are the ones on front line, but the ones that have to take it away or come up with a plan, because I think there's a lot more layers and a lot of very clever children, and we need to have all that information before we can do anything.
just one last thought as far as that goes. I mean, I don't think the rumors are true that people are putting burner phones in the bags for school so they can keep the real one.
Want to bet?
That was a very sarcastic comment.
Oh, okay.
Thank you,
Good. I was
Eric.
like,
Just
really,
to
Eric?
clarify it.
So far ahead.
It's an issue of our times for that. Okay. Yes, so I think we have some next steps for that. Thank you. I did see Denise come in, so Denise, would you be able to join us, please, and provide an update on the swim merger? Thank you. Earlier we could see all of the families and everything else back there, so it's actually wonderful to see that level of participation, and the beautiful weather also helps, so.
Okay, thanks for having me. I did have a few questions about expenses for boys swim. The things that they do that they purchase for the team are deck coats that they'll put on over their suits for in between races and so forth. And they also do caps. They ask the parents to purchase the swimsuits, usually a practice suit and a competition suit. And usually what they'll do is they'll order those at the same time so that all the kids are getting the same suit. So that's expenses. The winter season is out. They have 15 competitions or 15 meets on their schedule. I sent that to Mr. Bennett so he can forward that on to you guys if you want to see that, what that looks like. They did also ask for to have later start times for their meets this year at 5 o'clock, so that would give our kids time to get to RCS to catch the bus. So I thought that was very, I'm grateful for that. Practice times, they generally go 3 to 5, but the coach will be willing to stay until about 5:30 for Greenville to finish their workouts, any of our kids. Insurance is handled by us because they're our kids. So we would be the secondary insurance carrier as we normally are for all of our other athletic teams. And I think that's where I've gotten so far.
Do you know how many of our students are interested?
I have not put out a survey yet to see about that, but I did put it onto our winter registration schedule, and I did put a disclaimer in there that says Greenville will not be providing transportation, so parents would know that if their kids are signing up. I can put out a survey to see if kids are, and give some more information, or maybe even do that on a snapshot to see if we get anybody, any parents that call in.
Denise, is there plans in the future? I understand it's a different season for the girls varsity. I think that's in the fall.
That's in the fall.
Maybe that's an April 1st deadline or to that
Yep.
effect. Are we thinking of being forward-thinking to try to get
They wanted to
earshot
do
if we want
girls.
to do it?
Yeah, they wanted to do girls too, but it was beyond that point where we could actually research it and follow through on it. So I would assume that we would do that
For next year?
for next year.
Okay.
Yep, next fall. If you guys are willing. The other thing that question came up is if we have 7th and 8th graders that would like to try to matriculate, is the board okay with that happening?
Well,
Going through APP?
I was going to say it's varsity, so they would have to follow all the requirements and everything else.
Yeah, when we originally talked about it, we had talked about 9th through 12th graders. So I just wanted to make sure that I was clear on how you guys felt about that.
I would handle it the way we handle every other sport. I would not make any distinction. That would be my thought. What do other people think?
Fine with me.
I had the same behavior, correct.
The same thing with me. It's not a contact sport, so it's, I believe we would handle it with 7th and 8th would be
Yeah.
available.
My only concern with that would be if we have a large number of students who are interested, is there any kind of weight given to the high schoolers getting first chance?
Well, right now, I know that their swim team is very nil, so I think there's only like 10 kids, maybe, 8 to 10 kids. And a lot of swim teams can be up to 40 students, so I'm not sure that that'll be an issue.
Okay.
Can't say that for sure, but.
So just to clarify, for the caps and the deck coats, are we purchasing that, or what are we gonna,
They purchase that for our kids, so their caps, their swim caps they'll get, and their deck coats they'll have as part of the team. RCS has those already.
And when does the winter schedule start?
So winter starts November 18th, as far as practices go. And then their first meet, I'll tell you that.
And when do they need to sign up?
It's 12-1.
I'm sorry?
Is 12-1. So they would go through our normal process here. So they would start signing up on October 18th. So we do everything a month and ahead. Because they have to do health history and interval forms a month ahead of time. So we don't do start signing anybody up or registering any student athletes until a month ahead of the season.
Okay. Any other questions related to the merger? Thank
And
you.
I'm working on a contract too, and I will get that to Mr. Bennett, and then that's something that the parents will sign and so forth.
I'm sorry, a contract for
them, just basically stating that, you know, they're gonna take part in this, parents will be responsible for transportation, insurance will be, you know, will be secondary insurance.
So this would be something that the parents sign? Okay, so for Greenville parents who are interested in having their students or their children participate.
Yes.
And does that need to, that would be part of the sign-up process due October 18th?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and I believe we have one, let's see, another discussion point. Angela, let's see, talked about the student rep. The NISBA proposed resolutions. Angela, we'll turn it over to you.
Yes, so the meeting is coming up on October 10th at 4 p.m. I did attach the resolution book. It's attached to the agenda and also to an email. It's a lovely read if you guys want to just really settle in and read all about it. There are 37 this year, which I thought were fewer than last year, but I think last year was 39. So it's just as many. If anybody has any opinions, input, please get that to me by October 1st by email. And I think that's it. I would go over all of them, but we'd be here all night. So I think just look it over, let me know by the 1st of October. That'll give me some time to kind of get everybody's feedback together.
Wonderful, and we thank you for your service. We do appreciate you doing this. And I know that NISBA did make changes, so it does not go till midnight like it did last year.
That sounds lovely.
Yes. All right, and let's see, we also have a draft budget development calendar for 24-25. So the process and calendar, let's see, both are similar to years past, and the calendar will be on the October agenda for approval. So just take a look at it and see if there's anything that, see any issues. All right, so if everyone's okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move us on to our action items. I'm going to combine 7.1 and 7.2, which are the minutes. One for August 19th, 2024, and the other one for the September 9th, 2024. Could I have a motion?
Eric and Jim?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Could I have a motion to approve the finance reports for the month ending August 31st, 2024?
Angela and Eric?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Could I have a motion to accept the Committee on Special Education recommendations?
Jim and Eric?
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to approve the personnel agenda?
Jim?
Second.
Angela? Angela?
Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay. Aaron had alerted me that I had a 10-year date wrong. I made the change while we were talking, so I've uploaded the personnel agenda that we're voting on, when the change was for Jennifer, how do you pronounce her name, Savella? The first one. I had the 10-year date wrong.
All right. If you want to take a minute, open up and just check the first one, which was the change. Solella, is that how you pronounce it? Okay. All right, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Let's see, if I could have a motion to approve the building level emergency response plans for the 24-25 school year.
Angela and Kelly?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I could have a motion to approve the updated breakfast and lunch rates for the adults as of September 1st, 2024 per the New York State Child Nutrition Management System. Adults are not covered by the free meals.
Eric, need a second? Dave?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Could I have a motion to approve the contract between the Greenville Central School District and Advanced Therapy PLC for speech services provided to our students at Oak Hill School during the 24-25 school year?
Kelly and Eric?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Could I have a motion to approve the agreement between the Greenville Central School District and Parsons Child and Family Centers for the school year 2024-25?
Kelly and Dave?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Could I have a motion to approve the agreement between the Greenville Central School District and Crossroads Center for Children for the school year, for the 24-25 school year?
Dave and Angela?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve the intermunicipal tuition agreements between the Greenville Central School District and Vernon Knox Westerlo, Coxsackie Athens, Wyndham Ashland Jewett Central School District for the 24-25 school year.
Kelly and Eric?
Any discussion?
Mike, can you explain a little bit about how this process works? As far as, are we taking in students? Okay.
Yes, we are taking in students. This is the work that Brooke does with the different programs we've got to bring kids in to provide special education programming.
Do they pay our rate, or is each one the negotiated process between the two districts?
I believe that they pay our rate, but it's based on the different services that they need.
Right.
So any related services that are add-ons to what some kids get, some kids don't need.
So that's why there's a tuition agreement for each one, because
Correct.
Okay.
Yep,
Thank you.
you got it.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve the agreement between the Greenville Central School District, the Town of Greenville, its assessors, and the Board of Assessment Review of the Town of Greenville to share costs in obtaining an expert appraisal on SBL 12.11-12-19.
Angela and Eric?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Dave?
We need a motion to approve the updated policies 6410, meal charge and prohibition against meal shaming, and policy 5260, homebound instruction.
Eric? Jim?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to appoint Andrew Moriello as the NISBA Advocacy Liaison.
Eric and Jim?
Boy, those hands
I
went up
can back out.
quickly. Any discussion other than thank you, thank you, thank you?
Yes, just one item. I wanted to let the board know that we will next year have this on the reorg agenda, so we won't do it as a separate item.
No. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm
Thank
guessing I
you.
don't vote here.
You want to abstain?
You can vote for yourself. We can make it a 2-year commitment.
There we go, exactly.
Lifetime.
I need a motion, Jim, you're next. A motion to appoint membership for the different committees as listed below.
Kelly and Angela.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve an overnight field trip.
Dave and Angela.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve surplus items, textbooks and...
Eric? Need a second? Angela.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, which brings us to the next topic, which discussion at future meetings. Does anyone have anything that they would like to see discussed at future meetings? Okay. If anyone thinks of anything, just send an email. All right, a couple of reminders. I have October 7th as the next meeting for that. Let's see. All right, I will move us to the closing open forum. Please.
Do we need to approve the surplus items?
I thought I just did.
We did.
Oh,
We did.
I'm sorry, that's my fault. Sorry. Thank you.
All right, so we are on the, no. There we go. Okay, so we're on the closing open forum. And please note the same guidelines apply as stated during the first open forum. Is there anyone that would like to speak? All right. No, any emails? No. Okay. All right. I need a motion to adjourn to executive session to seek legal advice from our attorney, which is made privileged by law, and I saw him come in, so.
I have Eric and Jim.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.